So, would you love some smooth tips on how to make your summer smooth so your child can be having more fun, you can have less stress, and everyone will survive the summer? So, if you think about it, there's quite a few new people that could be in your child's life this summer. Your child may be attending ESY, which usually means new staff, or they've signed up for a baseball, program, or some kind of park and rec activity. You might even have a new babysitter this summer. If you think about it, there's so many new people that can be in their life, and that can be worrisome. As a parent, it's like, how is this going to work for my kid? So if you would like some alternatives to this worry and stress, stay tuned for some tips and so we would love for your child to have choices this summer about what activities they participate in, right? And if your child has been included in the school year, guess what? We want to try and make sure they also have inclusive activities to do this summer. So I think when it comes down to helping others see your child's strengths, what their unique needs are, most parents focus on what they need to tell a person, and then they share that same information with everyone. But so many times you won't really see good results from that because you're providing either too much or too little, and all the information is the same. It doesn't even, matter if you're sharing it with the babysitter or you're sharing it with the baseball coach. So for the longest time, parents have been told, what you need to do is give people as many details as you can so they have a real thorough understanding. Well, first, we think giving people many details will give them a thorough understanding, which the two don't necessarily go together. So think about it like packing for a trip. Packing your whole closet isn't going to be a practical idea, right? And you want to be thoughtful and pack what you need for the trip that you're going on. So some of the common problems that I see parents having is sometimes parents will make this huge, 5-page document that tells the whole story of your child and give that to the camp counselor and expect that things will go well. And yet, every day when you pick up your child, you hear more questions about how do we really support your child to do the swimming activities, to do the lunch in the noisy cafeteria, whatever. Those are the things that are going to be important for those camp people to know. And then, you think about if you tell the babysitter the most critical medical needs that your child has, because you really have to make sure the babysitter understands that. And yet she keeps texting you throughout the day, asking about, what foods your child can have for snack, what's the best routine for helping them, take a nap. So all of this, either too much, too little, information can really be stressful for staff. And we know that our kids can pick up on that stress. And then guess what? We pick up on that stress too. So today we want to be talking about three, I think, not on purpose, right? Three, mistakes that you may be making. And you may be making just one of these. The first mistake that I see parents making is TMI, too much information, and overwhelming people with so many details that really aren't necessary. Another mistake I make, and I was going to share, I've done this before, is assuming that the ESY staff or the swimming instructor or whoever will figure out how to work with your child. When our son Dylan was little, he's an adult now, but when Dylan was little, I did not share information with people ahead of time. When he would sign up for swimming classes or, like coach pitch baseball or whatever, I didn't share a lot of information because I was afraid that I would um, like prejudice them and have them see Dylan in a different light. So as a parent, not only do you need to decide how much information, which information to share, but also just kind of your style of doing it. Are you going to share that up front when you register your child for something? Are you going to, have a conversation with the staff person before the swim classes actually start? Those are the kinds of nuances that you need to figure out what's going to work best for you and your child. So ideally, what we're looking for is that Goldilocks, part of not sharing too much, not sharing too little, but just the right amount. So you're like, well, this is great, but like, how am I going to do this? So I think you always need to start easy and start with something that you can actually accomplish, right? And have that success. So if you have an About Me profile, and I haven't even welcomed you guys. If you have an About Me profile, you could start with that. And if you have one, let me know in the comments. So what would be great is to look at that About Me profile and say, okay, I've used this last year for his teacher. Like, how could I tweak this for, his chess club this summer? And so that is a great starting point. The other thing that you need to think about is like, what does the chess club, sponsor need to know about your child? So again, personalize that information. For instance, if your child's doing baseball, the baseball coach might want to know, like, have they played baseball before? What are some ways that the coach can instill more confidence in your child? What techniques or strategies would work? What skills your child has, what they're still practicing and learning. And then if it's a neighbor has invited your child over for a play date, your neighbor's going to need different information than the baseball coach or the club, the chess club sponsor, right? So the neighbor might want to know, like, what does your child love doing? What are some things that you want to make sure that, you don't do? Or these are some things that for sure your kid would love doing. If your child uses a communication device, if they have other ways that they communicate versus just verbally, you want your neighbor to be comfortable and knowledgeable about that. If they have food allergies, so when they're having lunch over at your neighbor's house, your neighbor knows that. Now, that doesn't mean you have to type up this About Me profile for your neighbor and give it to them. So that kind of takes us into the next subject, which is, how do you share this information? And you want to make sure that the information is individualized to the person that you're giving it to, but also how you share it. Because a baseball coach, and I keep thinking of baseball coaches, a baseball coach may not want this huge history of your child, and that's going to kind of turn them off. So tailor the information you give them and also customize the way that you share the information. So I do have a summer guide that I that I wrote for you guys, because I know some of you like to get, written resources. So if you would like this summer guide, just let me know in the comments. You can just say guide, and I'll make sure that you get the link to it. So in here, I also talked about, I just gave some suggestions, like 10 different ideas of ways that you could share information with people that are working or supporting your child this summer. So something like the About Me profile could be something that you give. Maybe your child has a video that they've used at IEP meetings to tell teachers about themselves. Maybe that video would be cool for your neighbor to see. So there's a variety of ways that you can share the information. It might be a face-to-face phone call, like I said earlier, and then you want to make sure that you follow up with an email, so people can go back and, look at that information again. So when you are proactive this summer, when you customize the information you're going to share, tailor how you're going to share it with the people, your child will have a much better summer. And we know we'll have to figure out another way to say, like, when they say, what is it? Happy wife equals happy life. I have to say something like happy kid means happy parents. I don't know. So if you have questions that pop up, make sure that you write them in the comments, and I'll circle back after the show and I can answer those questions. If you're catching the replay, thanks for being here, and make sure that you also add comments and questions. And we will be back with a live show in 2 weeks. So until then, I am Charmaine Tanner, a parent, retired teacher, advocate who is passionate about supporting parents so their kids can be successful and included every day and learning every day besides their friends in general ed classes. So until then, enjoy your summer. Take care. And we have some ending music.